So for the last week, I've been talking about Mega Evolution booster boxes a lot because we got the second wave of product. The first initial wave was only 60% of the supply. Then the second wave was the remaining 40% of the supply, which we got about a week ago. And since then, prices have steadily gone down. But today I noticed something and I wanted to make a video about it. We may have potentially found where the bottom is for Mega Evolution Enhanced booster boxes. So you can see before the second wave of product got released, prices were already dropping, and they dropped to about like $300 to $310. Then when we started to get the second wave of product coming onto the market, we saw prices dip to the mid 270s, and it started to go down a little bit more, down to like the mid 260s, and then all the way down at one point yesterday to $250. It doesn't really show it here. It shows 262 because I'm pretty sure it takes the average or something like that, but I made the video yesterday. You guys can watch it. It hit all the way to 250, and they were pretty relatively, available to buy for 250. And you can see what happened on the day when they hit their bottom. 146 boxes sold, way more boxes than any other day. You can see, in the past pretty much month, other than these few days where they got, bought out, the most it's sold in a while. And that's brought prices all the way back up to about $270. So it seemingly has hit that bottom, 250 when I made that video yesterday. I was talking about how, I sort of saw it 250 being the bottom, but potentially by seeing it, drop this quickly, maybe it goes to 240, maybe it goes down another $10, but I really realistically could not see it going any lower just because of how expensive this set is. And it seems like my prediction was somewhat correct that, okay, if it was going to go down, it was going to go down only a little bit more. But other than that, I couldn't see it being that low for that long. And as we can see here, that seemingly has already happened at $200 and almost $70 now market price, which is a $20 jump from yesterday, which isn't a huge increase, obviously. But the main point I'm trying to get at here is it shows where the bottom probably is around like 250, and since we've gone past that, now back to 270, seems like if you can get it for around that price point, you're probably pretty good in terms of obviously the near term, at least of the effects of this second wave of product. And it was sort of obvious that, okay, the lows we were going to see, it wasn't going to last extremely long because we were seeing a lot more sales volume comparatively to before when they were, above $300. 40 boxes was selling on average compared to when boxes dropped all the way into the 270s and high 260s. There was almost about 100 boxes selling a day. And yesterday, the lowest point, 146 boxes sold. So it looks like that's where the bottom is. So therefore, if you still have the opportunity to buy them, at 250s, I'd say that's probably, pretty much the bottom, especially looking now today. They haven't gotten any lower and they jumped up. I think it's pretty safe to say, at least for the near term, that's where the bottom's probably around going to be for this second wave. Now, once again, Mega Evolution, I've talked about, okay, buying at 250. There's, you can definitely argue a lot of different things with, the price point, but considering, how expensive all the other booster boxes are, buying Mega Evolution at 250 seems pretty good, even though, yes, it's a new set. It's only been out for about a month. Yes, I understand that. Can they print this thing to the ground? Will it be in print for another 2.5 years, whatever? Sure. But at least for the time being and the opportunity there is, this being one of the cheapest booster boxes, if you compare it to Scarlet and Violet as well, I believe Scarlet and Violet base and Journey Together maybe only being the cheapest ones at this point, cheaper ones compared to Mega Evolution. This is a pretty cheap booster box relative to everything else, but it is new. It is still expensive, but you actually have to see what the set contains to really judge it, because it's not like there's no expensive cards in here. There's plenty of cards above $100. So if you are wondering if the cases have really changed in price, not really. At this point now, if you want to buy a case for 1620, you're paying pretty much exactly market price for individual booster boxes. It comes out to pretty much exactly $270, which is basically the same here for the loose boxes. Yesterday you could have bought booster boxes for $250, and cases were the exact same amount. So you're paying like a $20 premium, which wasn't much. But at this point now, you're not really paying any premium at all. So for cases, if you're looking to buy some, you're not really paying a premium buying these. Now on eBay, if you go on eBay to see, okay, is there any better deals? There's not. There's one box here for 265, but everything else is still, above TCG player. You can see here 275. Is this from Pete Football? Maybe, probably. You can see here 288, 274, 275, 280, 265, 280, 275. When you see prices on eBay not really matching up with TCG player, and eBay prices are higher than TCG player, usually, and what I've seen is that usually indicates that the TCG player price is gonna probably start moving up. Usually, that from what I've seen, if there's a disparity in one place is higher than the other marketplace, in this case TCG player, will probably start moving towards the direction of the other marketplace, which is eBay. So that's a sign that even 250. I mean, that was obviously pretty low, but even at this price point, I mean, it looks like places aren't even matching up to eBay. Big sellers aren't even matching up to TCG player, because they probably think that, okay, it's probably gonna go back here. Why sell it for exactly market price when it's recently just dropped? Your cheapest place to buy from, at least from the big marketplaces, eBay or TCG player, it's going to be TCG player. You're saving anywhere from like $10 to $20. Now, showing you guys, how expensive a set it is. You guys know. I mean, this set is extremely expensive comparatively to pretty much any other Scarlet and Violet main set. It's, I believe, the most expensive main set, comparing to Scarlet and Violet by a good amount. And I believe Destined Rivals is the second, would be the most expensive Scarlet and Violet set. And this still clears it by over $1,000. So this is a very expensive set. And therefore, like I said, I mean, you look at the booster box price, even though it's a new set, I mean, there has to be some, sense adding up here, right? And it doesn't make sense that this would go to, let's say, like $200 a booster box if you could pull a card or multiple cards over $100, two of them being over $500. It doesn't really make much sense. So it was kind of easy. I already sort of like called out the bottom in previous videos where I was like, okay, it's probably to be around 250s, but since now we sort of see what's happened after it hit 250, we can kind of say, at least, yes, can prices still fluctuate in the next week? Sure, right? But we can kind of, from this movement and what we've seen this one day, where the bottom probably is, it was around 250 and now it's moved up. So there's that. So just to look at the cards and how they've been performing, the Mega Lucario, the gold Lucario, has actually gone down quite a bit since hitting its high at a little bit over 700. Now it's a little bit under 600. So it's dropped a little bit since I guess more product has been showing up. The Gardevoir, however, has not actually dropped much at all. It peaked at like a little bit over 600 and is basically there. A few sales here for lower, but these are moderately played. So I guess one here near mint sold for 500. So I guess there are a few copies, but these are smaller sellers. So maybe this has dropped a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell. These are very small sellers. But moving on, Mega Lucario, this SAR has dropped a little bit from $300 down to $280. So really not much movement at all. Mega Gardevoir has dropped a little bit from being low 300s. Now you can buy it for like $260. So that one's dropped a little bit. The Venusaur has dropped from $230 all the way now down to about $190, $200. So honestly, from looking at this second wave of product, it hasn't yet really affected prices that much. Yeah, we saw some things go down like 10% at most here, so not really many price drops from the second wave of product. But obviously we're gonna have to wait another few weeks or so to a month to see, okay, where prices are gonna end up from this 40% more product, because it's still a little bit too early to tell really. But it is worth noting prices really have not dropped much at all, which may indicate that, okay, even if prices do continue to drop, which I assume they probably will drop a little bit more, it's not going to probably be that drastic, because we aren't seeing really any huge decreases in price for singles, but some of them are moving down just a little bit. So just want to share this with you all, that prices have seemingly already hit a bottom. And if you thought they were going to go any lower than 250, well, data is showing that that was probably the bottom. Like I said, will prices fluctuate still maybe a little bit? Yes, but if it goes back down to like 260, 250, that's probably where the bottom is. And then you can just look at the sales volume, and even when it wasn't at 250 and many boxes sold that day, you can just see previously when boxes were 270, still about 100 boxes were selling per day, which is still a huge increase comparatively to where it was previously. So just want to share this with you all. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.